Welcome back to Mirror's Signal podcast. I'm your host, Josh Holloran, and today we are joined by Hardial. Hardial is a driving instructor, an instructor trainer, and a qualified teacher. Through the episode, he will be talking about some of the struggles he faced qualifying as a driving instructor and some of the things that helped him on his way. We also talk a lot about CPD and the benefits that he has got from that throughout his career as an instructor and an instructor trainer. If you're currently watching on YouTube, you can also get the audio version, and that's available on the YouTube Music app. If you're watching this as it goes out, we're also now uploading the episodes over on Spotify. So you will be able to find some of the earlier versions on there, and more will be going up regularly. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and leave us a like, a comment, and feel free to share any of the episodes. For now, we will get on with this one. I hope you all enjoy it. Hardial, how are you?
I'm very well, Josh. Thank you very much for having me.
That's all right. Thank you for coming. I
Wonderful.
appreciate you coming on and having a chat with me. So we've
Brilliant.
got a few bits that you've mentioned you'd like to talk about. And we'll get it in early for people that are watching or listening. And it's about the CPD and the benefits that you've got from CPD and where people can go, and that it doesn't have to cost a fortune. But before we get to that, I'd be interested to know a little more about you, if we could.
Definitely, Josh. Yeah. Well, I became I became a driving instructor 8 years ago, and I've enjoyed every single day. It's been fantastic. Now, I did struggle. I did struggle with the qualification process. I did the preset tests, and it was my dream. It was my dream to become a driving instructor from many years ago when I passed my driving test. But the sort of external pressure that I was under was no, get a proper job. You must get your education. Get your education and get a proper job. I got my education and did different jobs. Um, and then I was in sales in the sales industry. And it was during the recession of 2008, 2009. My position was made redundant again. And then I thought, all right, I'll go and sort out this proper job that everybody's been on about. And I enrolled on teacher training, become a science teacher. Really struggled, really struggled. It was such an eye-opening experience becoming a teacher. I battled through and got the qualification, and then realized, well, this is very hard, and kept doing teaching work as well. And then I thought, right, I need to follow my dream, follow my passion, and that's when I embarked on becoming a driving instructor. Um, so yeah, I did struggle. I eventually passed on my fifth attempt, and now that shows dedication. I knew I could do it, and I just reached out to the relevant people and got the training and got through. And during my teacher training, I started because one thing they wanted us to do as part of the assignment coursework was a reflective journal. I remember our tutor saying, open up a Word document and start writing about your experiences, what went well, what didn't go so well, and what you'll do next time during your lesson delivery for your science lessons. And this document was then submitted as part of our assignment as well. And then when I became training for the ADI badge, I thought to myself, you know what, I'll apply the same technique of using a reflective log, reflective journal on my ADI journey. And currently now my reflective log has got a word count of 22,000 words. Now in it, it's
Wow.
got, yeah, I'm amazed. I'm amazed. In it, it's got lots and lots of very useful information from John Farlam. I mean, my biggest influencer has been John Farlam. He's our backbone for this industry. And without his guidance and support, and especially the ADI Masterclass, it's been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I knew in my heart that continuous professional development, CPD, was the way to go forward. And I really enjoy coming to the ADI NJC conferences, and that's where I met so many different trainers. And I would go around all the different stands, gathering the information, and there was so much information available, and engaging with what I found useful to help me get better and better and better. And that's my mission, to help myself get better and better and better, but also help other ADIs and PDIs achieve their goals as well.
I think the expo, we can plug that a little bit. Now we're filming a few weeks before this episode's gone out. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that, because when this episode goes out, the expo is going to be probably a month or two later. So I think we can probably add the link in the description to that, the ADI NJC Expo, which is a great day. I'll be going to this year's to, exactly like you said, get around the stands, see who's around, and take in some of the information that's out there. There's so many great trainers delivering presentations. It's free.
Yeah.
It's a free
Yeah.
day of CPD.
That's right. That's right. And one thing I learned from my teacher training, tutors and trainers said to me, once a year, make an effort. Once a year, go and see the people that have helped you get where you are and say thank you to them. And I remember doing this at the previous expo I went to, and everybody loved it. Because without these people, I mean, there's so many I could list. There's just too many to list. And that's what my mission will be, to go on, he said, I think it's end of September, and just meet up with them, catch up with them. Yes, we're always chatting on Facebook, but actually see them face to face is a different thing as well. And you're right, it's a free training event. There's going to be seminars and webinars and classroom workshop environments as well for ADIs and PDIs to just get that little golden nugget of information to help you proceed to the next step.
It's a great day. I'll make sure that we've got a link to that. I'm looking forward to it. I went last year. Hotel, food, and the weekend all went
Yeah,
through the books as tax deductible because it's CPD and I need to do it for my job. So if you've got an accountant or anyone like that, have a chat first. Don't say Josh said, I can write it all off.
yeah. Well, that's right. It's training. It's
Mm.
training, and yes, it's taking time out of your day and taking time to reflect, taking time to just pause and reflect and think about, well, exactly like we know what went well, what didn't go so well, and what you're going to change. And this is a very powerful technique that I've been using for a number of years now. Whenever you're doing something, think about why it didn't go well, think about what did go well, think about what you would do differently, because we're continually evolving and trying to get better and better. And that's fantastic.
So with your reflection, is that kind of the structure that you always use? Do you still do it now, kind of daily, weekly? What's your current routine? How do you get on with your reflection at the moment?
I try and do it daily. I might do it when I get home and just park up and sit on the drive for 10 minutes, or I might do it as I sit down. I mean, my desk here is all laid out exactly how I want it. Everything's within arm's reach. So it's effectively having a meeting with yourself. It might sound a bit sad, but we don't have staff meetings because we're self-employed. So having a meeting with yourself is really important, and just thinking about what happened and thinking about why it happened and how you could improve it. And again, I reach out to other industry leaders and motivational speakers, and just try to gain that little bit of nugget of information to take on board.
I think those nuggets of information are so important. I expect people listening to this or watching this are quite new to the journey. And a lot of things that people talk about on the episodes, there is so much information. And if you sat there trying to do everything, it is such a challenge. But just taking that one nugget, and it was mentioned on a previous episode, someone that you know, Mick Knowles, was speaking about it.
Yeah.
And it's taking that little nugget and letting that grow, and then another one and letting that grow, rather than trying to get everything at once, because there's so much information out there.
This is so true, Josh. Currently, for new entrants into the industry, I know there's a large influx of PDIs in the industry now. A lot of people are thinking of changing career and becoming ADIs. And there's so much information available to them. What I would suggest to them is come to conferences like the Expo, reach out and get as much free information as you can. But yes, of course, there's going to be a point where you've got to pay because everybody's got bills to pay. And I remember when I struggled. I'd been an ADI about a year and a half, and I had a pupil who would have a meltdown every lesson. And then I thought to myself, I can either say to my pupil, Katie, you're going to have to find another instructor, or I thought, no, I need to change. I need to get help on how I can help Katie. And that's when I reached out and came across Diane Hall. Now, Diane, as you know, is one of our industry backbone leaders. And I reached out to Diane and she said, look, we're so glad you've contacted us. Come and see us at the conference and we'll help you. And I love it. The training that Diane gave me and the seminars and webinars, I used those techniques on myself first, thinking it can't be that simple. So I used the techniques Diane trains on myself and thought, wow, this works. Then I tried it with Katie. And now, I mean, my previous career, I was a mobility specialist when I was in the motor trade. So I've always been dealing with SEN pupils. In my teaching role, I've always had SEN pupils to teach science and maths. Now what I'm finding is I'm getting a lot of SEN pupils in the car as well, and they're loving it because they're not finding an instructor who is patient and calm and explains things in their manner. And Katie passed first time. Katie passed first time, and that's the story I tell, in any situation. And this is what it's about. It's all about stories. Humans love stories. We like that little bit of, oh, this happened, and I did this. And gaining information from everybody else and telling each other stories and experiences and learning from each other as well. The pupils are such a fantastic source of learning. Brilliant. It's brilliant.
That's one of the aspects of the job that I really enjoy, is the different people and the different challenges. And I can absolutely see that there are going to be people that we struggle with, and it's quite easy to almost be like, look, why don't you go and try this? Go try someone else. And maybe there are times when that is the best option or the most efficient option for that individual. But switching it on yourself and, well, what can I do differently? How can I develop so that I can help this person and people similar to this person?
Absolutely. It really was a light bulb because I sat down with myself and had a meeting with myself, and I thought, what do I do? Do I say to Katie, find another instructor? And I thought, no, that's the easy option. That's not me. That's not me as a person, as an individual. So I got onto Facebook and just researched and pinged a few messages, and then contacted Diane. And it's so fascinating because the techniques work. And I've got a pupil I must mention. Our pupils are absolutely fantastic. Now, this pupil, oh my goodness, again, it's a story. Now, I've got to share this with you. Now, this pupil, now I'm not going to mention a name because he told me, as soon as he got in the car, he said, I can drive. I've been driving illegally. Can you help me? And I thought, oh no, we've had this before. So I told him what we're going to do. Yeah. Now, we did struggle because he had a lot of bad habits to fix. Yeah. But the rapport built, the rapport and the connection built, and we've ironed out all of the habits now. Yeah. And we've been having conversations about rev matching. Now, race car drivers will understand this. We've been having conversation about rev matching, racing cars, center of gravity, and IAM members will understand IPSCA and center of gravity and police car craft. So the conversations have been absolutely fantastic in the car. Now, this pupil reminded me of rev matching, and I thought, oh my goodness. So yeah, the pupils are our lifeblood, and I mean, I was very fortunate enough to do train the trainer with John Farlam's team. In fact, Adam Bragg asked me to do train the trainer shortly after I qualified, but I knew in my heart I'm not ready yet. So I said, look, let me get some experience first. So I'd been qualified about 3 or 4 years, and then I did the train the trainer. Absolutely loved it. It was so thorough, and they went through everything from start to finish. So I trained PDIs and ADIs, and the train the trainer helped me to go that one step further as well. Did the train the trainer, and at the same time, actually, I remember at one of the ADI NJC conferences meeting Susan McCormack and Graham Hooper, and they both said to me, "Come and do the BTEC. You'll love it. Come and do it." And I thought, I looked at the course content and I thought, well, I've done all that in my teacher training. So I thought, let me just get some more experience. Yeah, so I got more experience under my belt. And then, funnily enough, I know she won't mind me mentioning her name, Penny Sue Alexander put on Facebook, I'm going to do the BTEC. And I thought, right, I'm going to do it as well. So we were probably one of the last ones to do the BTEC. And because I'd known about the course, and I know people that have done it, yeah. And as soon as Penny said, so I'm Facebook friends with Penny, and I think she's been qualified the same time as me, maybe a bit more. And as soon as she announced I'm doing the BTEC, I thought, now I'm doing it as well because I've got peer learning. So we helped each other and communicated all through the course as well. And the BTEC level 4 coaching and driver development, absolutely fascinating course. I am devastated that it's no longer available for ADIs and PDIs to complete this course now. I know there will be accredited courses in the future. The BTEC level 4 opened my eyes, coaching and driver development. Of all the courses I've done, it was the hardest one I did because it was me looking at myself in the mirror. I had to redraft. I had to redraft every assignment. And only on the last assignment, the penny dropped. This is the whole idea of the course. You submit your assignment. I'd spend hours and hours in car doing the experiential learning with the pupils. They loved it. And then I'd write about it, reflect upon it, write about it again, redraft it, recraft it, submit it. And guess what? There'd be an email a week later saying, well, you've done this well, you've done that well, you've done this well. Have a look at this, and this, and resubmit it. And my head was spinning, thinking, I've done all that already. So I did it again, did it again, did it again. And on the last assignment, the penny dropped. That's the whole idea of the course. So I did it, and I'm so glad I did it because since then my lessons have got much better with questioning and deep digging deeper and eliciting feedback. I mean, I'm just as bad as any tell instructor. When I first started, it was all tell, and then slowly moved over to the client centered learning as well, and that was a nice progression because in my previous sales role, we used to have lots of role play, and that's why I love doing role play with ADIs and PDIs during in-car training, becoming the examiner, becoming the pupil, and just moving them along and proving that they've made progress. Absolutely fascinating course, and I do hope that there's going to be another course similar, looking at human behaviour and challenging and human behaviour, thoughts, feelings, and emotions, because that's very, very fascinating because it is a human, it is a very people's business that we're in. And what's most fascinating is every customer is different. It's brilliant.
It's crazy how effective the emotions can be on the driving as well, isn't it? And in the lessons and on the driving test, understanding those emotions that your students going through certainly changes how we look at things as their instructor, coach, whatever we're going to call ourselves these days. But it changes how we manage things in the car as well.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, we've got the experience of passing part one, part two, and part three. Our job role is to help to create confident, self-evaluating, thinking drivers. Now, I've always been a strong believer. We've it's it's in it's in our hands. Now, I mean, Ray Seagrave, absolutely fantastic trainer. This is what I learned from Ray Seagrave. We are the custodian of the standard. We are the custodian of the standard. So it's up to us. We've got the GDE matrix. We know the difference between levels three, four, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, and we know the shortcomings of the driving test. So we've got to make sure that we're producing uh, independent thinking drivers that can drive way, way, way above test standard uh, to look after themselves for the rest of their lives. It's not just a case of scraping through the test. And this is what I love about it because my passion has always been road safety. I was lucky enough to do IAM back in the early 1990s. Always had a passion for cars and knew that one day I'd be a driving instructor. And that's when I learned about defensive driving. And as John Farland would say, that's what it's all about. It's your driving. Yeah. First and foremost, you've got to get your driving sorted out. So what I would recommend to any ADIs or PDIs, if you haven't done IAM, it's now called IAM Road Smart. Um, Book yourself onto IAM course. Otherwise, there's the other one which is ROSPA. That's also defensive driving. You can do ROSPA. I think they've got ROSPA Gold, uh, Silver, and Bronze. I know there's Cardington. So some get some form of driving qualification to enhance your own driving because that's what it's all about. You're going to make a carbon copy of yourself, and your driving's got to be top notch. That's what is first and foremost is your driving. Yeah. Yes, you passed your part two. Take it one step further and do IAM. I mean, if I could make time in my diary, I think it's worthwhile having some sort of a refresher because it's been a few years since I've done that. But you adapt as good drivers, we adapt and change. I say this to my pupils: I drive differently now than I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You have to adapt and change because of so much road rage and bus lanes and smart motorways. The roads have changed so much. So we know as good drivers to adapt and change. But it's nice to have a little benchmark as well that there's always room for improvement. This is why I wanted to speak about CPD, continuing professional development. As professionals, we need to be aware that look, when you passed your part three, that's the start of your learning curve. Every day is a school day, every day is a learning day. And we can learn from our pupils, we can learn from our peers, we can learn from ADIs and PDIs, more and less experience from ourselves. Everybody knows something that you don't.
Where would you suggest someone starts? So let's take, for example, someone that's just qualified and they're looking for the next step, something to challenge them maybe a little bit. I don't know, but someone that's just qualified, what would your advice be to them that are thinking of starting their CPD journey?
Um, try and find a local WhatsApp group. Um, I was I was chatting. Well, actually, when I first started, I remember hearing a conversation in a test center, and somebody mentioned a WhatsApp group, and uh, then I found the relevant instructors and joined that group, and that's where I've, made friends, more friends as well, um, uh, learning from each other. So it could well be on the doorstep. There's going to be more experienced ADIs uh, probably on somebody's doorstep. So find a local WhatsApp group. As we know, there's plenty of Facebook groups as well. Um, and there are companies emerging to do more and more training as well, because this is the way forward. Yeah, so certainly a local WhatsApp group, and the test center. There could be an advert in the test center. There's so much online available now since COVID. I mean, we're having this meeting online. We're hundreds of miles apart, so there could well be online training. Um, when I was struggling in my part three, again, I was, reaching out. I remember coming across. Now I know Jed will not mind me mentioning his name. I came across Jed and Claire's videos on part three, so I watched them again and again and again, and they were fascinating. So there's lots of resources on YouTube. You in the education sector, YouTube, although there's a lot of rubbish on there, YouTube is my voice not funny then. YouTube is actually a very resourceful tool. So I know there's lots and lots of useful information about YouTube. The only thing is it's not policed. So how do you know? How do you know that what you're seeing on YouTube is correct? So approach a reputable training company with a pedigree and a good track record. I mean, I'm very fortunate enough to be a PDO trainer for smart driving and drive. And recently, I'm teamed up with Mick and Lee of Kit, and I've delivered 2 days of in-car training with Lee. We did a session in Dudley early part of June, and that was superb. We've already booked the next 2 dates as well. I've recently put them onto Facebook. Lee's put it as well. 30th of September and 1st of October. So search for a reputable training company, um, and read the testimonials. Speak to the trainer that you will be engaging with before parting with any hard-earned cash, because you've got to be sure that you get on with the trainer. I mean, I know in our industry there's many scenarios where you sign up for this, and this, but you don't meet your trainer till the day. Well, what if you don't get on with your trainer? So go for the be cheeky and go for the free stuff. I mean, I did everything free from ADI NJC, and then decided where to spend the money. And obviously you've got to spend the money. You've got to invest in yourself. You don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself and treat yourself to the best CPD. The CPD are ranging from free to £5 a month, £10 a month, £30 a session, to £600 and more, whatever. Yeah. But you've got to find what works for you just to get that one step further. Surround yourself. What I've done, and I really enjoy doing this, surround yourself with ADIs and PDIs that know more than you. I mean, one of my PDIs, I can't mention his name. He done his training, and he's superb, absolutely top notch. And I thought, wow, you know, you know everything there is to know in our industry, because his background was IT, and he just picked everything up. He soaked everything up like a sponge, and went that one step further as well. And I thought that's fantastic. So, Pete, new entrants into the industry, and this is what's so fascinating. It depends on what background they're from. They're going to bring transferable skills, so we can learn. We can learn from new entrants into our industry as well as people that have been in the industry for a few years as well. I did read it. I'm a big fan of quotes. My phone's got loads and loads of screenshots of quotes, and a quote that comes to mind now is, I think it's by Alvin Toffler, and it's something along the lines of the successful people of this century are those that will be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I read that and I thought, that is so fantastic. We can't just stay stuck in our ways. We have to know what we've got to learn. So we've got to continue learning. Every day is a school day. Some stuff we're going to have to unlearn. Now, people are going to struggle doing that because they might have done something in a certain way for a number of years. So certain stuff we've got to really think hard and think, I've got to change how I do that because things are changing. It's not working now. So we've got to learn, unlearn, and relearn information. And that can be a struggle, and you need help and guidance. And there's plenty of help and guidance available. And I'm a strong believer. Reaching out is so important. I remember going to school when I was doing supply. I do supply work. I've always done supply teaching. Never actually had a proper job as a teacher. Um, and I really enjoyed it doing the supply work. So I'm going around different schools. I do 1 day a week now. Still do teaching 1 day a week. And I remember going to this school, and the basically a science teacher had been signed off sick for stress. He'd never had a day off sick, and after 25 years of service, that's it. It was gone. So he'd been signed off sick, and I went along to do 2 weeks of cover for science lessons. And after 2 days, I'd really settled in well and found out what I needed to, where it was, and all on the hard drive, all the PowerPoints and so on. And I was in the staff room, and the head of science came to me and said, "How come you've settled in so quickly? It's like you've been here 6 weeks. You've been here 2 days, and like you've really settled in." And then I said to the head of science, I think his name was Malcolm or Martin. I said, "Well, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I've learned in my teacher training that if you're stuck, don't be afraid to ask for help." And he said, "Yeah, I've noticed you like you've made friends. You've made friends with all the science staff, and like you're having a laugh and a joke with them, and you know, and he said he said I see that as a strength that you're not afraid to ask for help. So I use that here as well. Any new entrants into the industry, don't be afraid to ask for help. Now, I must mention some very lovely ADIs local to me here that helped me when I was struggling with my part three. So again, I use this philosophy of don't be afraid to ask for help. And there's two particular instructors come to mind now, and I'm sure they won't want me mentioning their names. One's Mike, and the other one's Michaela. And they live on my doorstep, and I asked them for help, and I said, "Look, I'm really struggling on my part three. Can you do some training with me?" So each one of them did 2 hours with me. So effectively, I had 4 hours free, being who I am. Yeah. Now I remember Mike saying to me at the end of the 2 hours, he said, "Have you found that helpful?" And I said, "Yeah." And like we went through, what I learned and so on and so forth. And he goes, "Right," he goes, "I've done you the first 2 hours for free. If you want any more, I'm going to charge you." And that 2 hours was enough. So I don't know. I don't know why it was. It just worked. Things clicked. And the same with Michaela. I did 2 hours, and I said, "Look, I'll kind of pay you for this." She said, "You can have 2 hours for free. If you need more training, I'll help you." And this is what I tend to do with PDIs that I've come across as well. If they're struggling, well, we don't want to hit them with an invoice straight away. I quite enjoy. I will give my time freely. Yeah. So if anybody's struggling, and what I've done recently is we know as ADIs and PDIs, we've got the GDE matrix, we've got the gadget report, we've got national standards, national driver rider training standards, we've got the ADI syllabus. There's loads of documents that we should be reading. Yeah. Now, we could think about all of these competencies is what I hit in every lesson, so on and so forth. But if we put all that into a pot, if we pour all that into a pot, my belief is it's all about delivering a great driving lesson. If you deliver a great driving lesson, everything's going to fall into place. Now, recently, after doing the training with Lee, trainees from that course approached me and said, "Can we have some additional training with you?" So they did. And then I thought to myself, I need to take this on board now because they've approached me and it's something that I can do in the future as well. So then I announced the day we took a photograph and I put it on Facebook. And then I thought to myself, I need to give myself a title. Now, I'm sure Lee Sparry won't mind me mentioning his name. He inspired me because I came across his name, Lee Sparry, and he's called himself the ADI Doctor. And I thought, that's fascinating. Has he got a degree? Has he done a PhD to become a doctor? And I thought, I can't call myself ADI Doctor. So I thought, I'll call myself the GDL Consultant, Great Driving Lessons. That's what it's all about. My mission every day is to deliver a great driving lesson. So I am the GDL consultant, and I'm proud to say that. It's something that I'm confident. I'm confident I can help ADIs and PDIs deliver great driving lessons because I can observe your lesson. You can observe my lesson. I welcome anybody to come and observe my driving lesson. In fact, I've had the pleasure of Lee Jowett observing my driving lesson only for 10 minutes. And he picked up some good points as well. He picked up what I did well and little pointers of improvement. I think it's important as ADIs and PDIs to be open to feedback and criticism. Yeah, we've got to be of the mindset that there's always room for improvement. Yeah, even if we've achieved a high score in standards checks or part threes, these are exercises and hoops that we have to jump through. I mean, I'd love a standard check. I've only had one, and I'm a grade B. I'm proud of that. It's an exercise, and I'd love to do audit. I would love to do audit. I know it's all on hold, but I'm continuously preparing to get better and better and better. So when the time is right, I'll do my audit as well. Yeah, I know in our industry there's audit trainers that are there's trainers. I know there are trainers that are audit and non-audit, good and bad. So my mission is to get better and better and better, and audit will happen as and when. But I'm confident. I know my driving lessons are good. Anybody's welcome to observe my lesson. In fact, I'd welcome any trainers to come and help me and observe and get better and help me get better. That'd be fantastic.
That's a message that has come up a lot on the podcast, especially for PDIs. And I've had them sit in my lesson and they're on a PDI license and they've never seen anyone deliver a driving lesson. And I think that's so important, seeing someone do the job. And a reference that comes up a lot, like whenever you get a job, you shadow the person that you're going to be replacing, or the job you're going to be doing, and you'll shadow them for a week, 2 weeks, a day, a shift, whatever it is. But you're watching someone do the job at a standard that you're expected to do the job. And our job, I believe, is a little more dangerous than pulling pints or delivering food to a table, yet you'd still shadow a couple of shifts before you start doing that kind of job. Yet we almost do the training and it's like, right, here's your pink license. Go put it all into practice. Good luck. I'll see you for your 20 hours in a few weeks' time. And that step is so important. Sitting, observing,
Yeah.
seeing how a lesson is delivered.
Josh, it's absolutely vital because when I did my teacher training to become a science teacher, there were you had to go to two different schools for your placement. And part of the training was observing teachers delivering driving lessons. So I've used that knowledge and skill and ability, knowing that that's the way forward in the driver training industry. That's what I do with my PDIs. I say, right, I'll observe you doing a lesson, and then we'll do debrief and feedback and role play. However, on this day, would you like to come and observe me doing a lesson? And they love it. So I think it's called Learn by Nelly. Learn Nelly the elephant. So learn by Nelly. So yeah, like you say, if you're going to be a waitress or delivering pizzas, that you shadow somebody, and then yeah. So um, and there is mileage. No pun intended. There is mileage in what we're talking about. Our enforcement officer doing part threes. When I was listening to a debrief a few weeks ago, I'm not going to mention any names for examiner reasons. Um, I explained that I encourage PDIs to observe my lessons, and he did say that's a really good idea. Keep doing it, and I'm happy he said that because it's true, you know. And I did it on my teacher training. I specifically made contacts with other staff in the staff room as well, and I said to them, look. Can I observe your lesson? Can I observe your lesson? Just to learn from the different teaching styles, and it's really powerful technique to help the PDIs to see it all coming together. And recent observations that PDIs have done with me have commented on saying that it's truly fascinating to see how the 17 competencies were woven into the lesson from start to finish. And this is what's so fascinating about the standards check and the part three marking criteria. We know as an industry, when the standards check landed on the desk, it was a document that was like, what's this? We don't understand it. I love it. I've read each and every one of the competencies again and again and again. It's a bit like a mantra. I should have it plastered here on the wall. Each one of those competencies is truly fascinating. It's so fascinating that when we read it and think about what it is that they're looking for, what it is that they're asking for, the bottom line is great driving lesson. We know in our industry, our trainers have advised us a lesson should have value for money, teaching and learning, and risk management. That's the backbone of a good driving lesson. Now, if we take that as a template and think, yeah, we need to do this competency, that competency, risk management, the bottom line is, do we satisfy all of those competencies from the national standards, the GDE matrix? It all boils down to delivering a great driving lesson. So when I leave tomorrow morning, when I leave for my lessons, I think to myself, right, I'm going to do this and this. We planned it from last week. Objective, deliver a great driving lesson. Everything else will fall into place. And it's truly fascinating. And the comment I had from a PDI recently was she actually said, it's really interesting to see how all the 17 competencies were woven into the lesson and they all came to life. And I just thought, wow, that's fantastic.
I love the different approach that people have got to this. There are so many trainers I've spoke to with many different opinions, and I expect everyone's out there getting great results. But there's like if you deliver a good lesson, you'll hit the 17 competencies. If you're hitting the 17 competencies, you're delivering a good lesson. And I think this comes back to, I mentioned it last episode or the episode before, and you've mentioned it today, and that is finding the people that you want to work with, the people that you'd like to learn from. Because some people will want to know the 17 competencies inside out. Other people will want to come at it from a slightly different approach where they want to know how to structure a lesson. Structure a great driving lesson and you'll hit the 17 competencies. But I think if you're going to a trainer that's all in on the 17 competencies and inside out and lots of technical information, you might struggle getting what you want from that person. It's not to say that they're not great or you're not the right person to be a driving instructor. But I think it's so important to get people that think and talk about things a similar way to how you do as an individual.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about rapport and building that connection. We know that we've got to build that rapport and connection with our pupils to get the best out of them. And the stronger the rapport, the better we're going to be able to have coaching conversations, and more importantly, also about test readiness, because that conversation will happen, and it'll be like, well, I'm here and I'm here, yeah, and so the stronger the connection, um, the easier it is to have that conversation about test readiness. um, so yeah, I mean, I like to spend time, as we all do, building that rapport and connection with the pupils. And what you mentioned is so true. You've got to have that rapport and connection with your trainer. Everybody needs a mentor. Even the most successful business people, they've got mentors. And I've tried to surround myself with mentors and trainers so that I can learn and get better and better as well. Actually, I've got to mention this now. Talking about mentors. I'd never won anything in my life. Uh, a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago now. Um, I mean, these people won't mind me mentioning their names. They're on Facebook. Martin Miller and Kelly Vikings, and these are my mentors. These are my business mentors. I put a I put a comment on a photograph a few years ago on Facebook, and then all of a sudden, a day later, I saw the post again, and it said, "Right, we've decided who's going to win 1 year of business mentoring, Hardial Matharu." And I read it and I thought, "What?" So I sent Martin a message, and I said, "Well, what's this all about?" And he said, "We like the caption that you wrote on the photograph we posted, and we've been following you and your digital footprint, and we'd like to help you develop your business acumen." And I said, "What's that involve?" And he said, "Once a week we'll have a development call." So Martin used to ring me every Friday, and we'd talk about goals. We'd talk about SMART goals. We'd talk about strengths and weaknesses, and he'd ask me how the week had gone, and he'd signpost me and say, "Oh, now try this, now try that." And during the conversations, I'd make lots of notes as well. So I've still got those notes and refer to those notes, and they were fascinating. Are so powerful techniques to develop business skills. Um, and I think this is, I know trainers have mentioned this as well. The qualification process doesn't really prepare you in running a business. So, I mean, I've been interested in business for years and years. My dad had a grocer shop. My uncle was an estate agent, and I learnt, customer care is the way forward. Without customers, you haven't got a business. But this does remind me of a quote. I remember I mentioned I'm a big fan of quotes. A business, and this is how I run my business. A business that just makes money is not a good business. So I make sure that I build that rapport and connection with my pupils so strong that we become friends for life. Of course, we've got to be professional. And I learned this on my teacher training. We can be friendly, but not friends. Does that make sense?
It's a strange dynamic, isn't it, with your students? You spend weeks and months the same time each week. They go and pass the driving test, and that's them. Off they go. It's
Yeah,
and some of the conversations that happen in the car, and I'd like to talk about this in a moment with you about the conversations and the coaching.
yeah,
But some of the conversations that happen in the car, there are times when I'll listen. That's what I feel like I'm there for. I'm listening. but I'm not getting involved with this conversation because I'm a driving instructor and that's where we need it to stay. But I'd like to ask about the conversations and the coaching because you've mentioned
Mm.
it. And it comes up quite a bit on socials, and that is how we deal with that with a student. I think there's still a thought that we're instructors. We tell the students what they need to do. Today is lesson one. We're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. And then the day after, the week after is lesson two. How do you find the mindset is in your car with your students to get on board with the coaching rather than telling? How do you manage that?
Well, it's truly fascinating. And Josh, I'd like to welcome you in the back of my car to observe the lesson. Um, I am so happy that I did my teacher training and became a teacher and then became a driving instructor. Now, you don't have to be a teacher, fully qualified teacher, to become a driving instructor, but it's certainly helpful. Now, one thing I know that's lacking in our industry is teacher training because we are teachers. We are teachers, we are coaches, we are mentors, facilitators. So, my car is a moving classroom. So, I understand about teaching and learning. So, what I make sure my pupils are engaging with is the driving lesson. So I know from school background, the pupils will have had a spreadsheet. They'll have had a RAG analysis, red, amber, green. So the Ready to Pass campaign is fascinating because that's helped me have conversations with the pupils, and they've actually taught themselves about doing the test. It's like, well, you here's the 27 competencies. You can put a smiley face, a sad face, happy face. Which ones are you good at? Which ones are you not good at? Pupils have done this at college or university and school, so it's fascinating. I'm fully aware that some of them want direct instruction. That's fine. That's what works for them. But then when we're going into thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and emotions, we've got to go down the client-centered route. So it's building that rapport. When that rapport is built, because I'll spend time building that, uh, and then deliver what is required for the learner. And we know they can change from week to week. And it's fascinating seeing them how they develop from that very shy, timid person that came into your car that doesn't want to break anything or touch anything that they shouldn't touch, and then helping them grow and helping them develop as an individual. But of course, we're developing their driving skills and helping them become a good, safe driver for the rest of their life. But we are effectively loco parentis. So we're sort of like a parental role and developing that human being to the next stage. Because at the end of the day, they're in a killing machine.
That's been mentioned, I don't think in those exact words, but a killing machine. Absolutely. And I think that can get overlooked. The skills that we're helping these people develop and the risk that they're being faced is crazy when you look at it. I was having a chat with one of my students the other day, and if you break down what a car is, it's just loads of explosions in a ton and a half of metal that makes some wheels go around and it drags it around at potentially 100, 120 miles an hour. And it's like, oh yeah, everyone can pass the driving test at 17. And there's so much more to it, like you said, and that self-awareness and reflection and understanding their thoughts and their feelings and making the right decision, or at least being aware enough for the consequence of the decisions that they're about to make.
Absolutely fantastic. Yes, very, very true. And we are actually in a very privileged position. We are so fortunate to be able to shape the young minds that come with us. Now, when I say young, our youngest customer is 16 with PIP, so they're still developing. And recently, my eldest customer was 70, and then what happened a few weeks ago, I had a phone call, and this young man, 80 years old, rang me and he said, I've been given your number. I've heard you're good. And I thought, oh, okay. How can I help you? And he said, oh, I've had an accident. I was in a car park and the barrier was down and the car behind was beeping me and I hit the wrong pedal. He's got automatic. And he said, I hit the barrier and they've written my car off and I've got no car. And can you come and help me build my confidence? And I thought, all right, I'll go and see Ian. And Ian, 80 years young, eyesight brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He could read the number plate, so do eyesight check first, as you do. Um, he did it. He drove my car, and he did really well. He had some positioning errors to fix. Driving too close to parked cars. So, I just did what I needed to help him build his confidence and safety. And then he said to me, "So, what do you reckon? Then should I get a car?" And I said, "Well, you can drive safely. The couple of sessions we've done, you've shown me that you can drive safe. Your eyesight's good. Eyesight was very good. No glasses, and he's going to go and buy a small hatchback because mine's a Toyota Yaris. He loved the car, and he said, "Look, I used to have a." I asked him what car he had previously because I wanted to sort of again build that rapport and find out, what he had before. And he used to have a Jaguar, so it was a very very big car. And he said, "Look, I just need something to like get me to the shops and out and about." And I said, "Look, just go for something not too big, not too small. Go to your local Toyota dealer and pick a car that you like." So he's going to be out and about mobile again. So youngest is 16, eldest is 80. And what I was saying was, see, I get sidetracked. um, we we're in the privileged position to help people, and that's what we like doing, helping people. And what the skill that I'm developing, and I'll continue developing it, is building that rapport, building that connection, and just helping other people achieve their goals, and then your goals will be automatically achieved. We're in a very, very lucky, privileged position. If there's any PDIs listening to this that are struggling, reach out, reach out for the help. In our industry, there's plenty of people that will help you because it is truly fascinating. It is difficult to qualify. There's no shortcuts. You've got to put in the hard work. I mean, I thought to myself when I was struggling, I failed 3 times, and I thought, right, my 2 years is up now. What do I do? And I thought, I'm not giving up. So then I reached out and found another trainer who's now passed away, Alan Starkey. Without Alan, I wouldn't have become an instructor. He was like a dad, absolutely lovely bloke. And Alan helped me. Um, he did in-car training with me, and I failed fourth attempt, and I thought, I can't believe it. And he said, look, it's just a little blip. You'll get it next time. And I did. I got through on the fifth attempt, and there's help out there. Um, and the reason why people struggle is maybe they've not had the correct training. I mean, there's probably people listening that will have passed first time. They will have passed every single part one, part two, part three, first time. We've all got our own journey to follow the path, and I'm a strong believer if we can help somebody achieve their goals, then our personal goals will be achieved automatically as well.
That's a really important message. I love that. Reach out. And I'm finding, which is amazing, there are people that are watching and listening to this that are getting help because I'm hearing from the trainers and from the people that they're talking to. So I love that people are able to see trainers like yourself and then get the help and support that they need. So it is a really important message, and especially at the minute. We're going to get on to some questions shortly that I'd like to go through with you. But I think we need to be aware of the pass rate. You've mentioned that this isn't an easy process, and the part 3 pass rate is at about 35, 36%. So on average, it's taking people all 3 attempts to get through the process. So I think if you've got your first part 3 coming up, make sure that the training you're getting is at a standard that you need. And if you've got any kind of question marks, reach out and just get a second opinion, because you might have paid for a course, you might have paid for a package, but ultimately, as you've already mentioned as well, this is your business. This is going to be your business. It's potentially going to be your career. And you want to put yourself in the best position that you can now to save the added stress later down the line.
Definitely, definitely. The help is out there. The help is out there. And I remember meeting Andrew Love from Smart Driving at Brierley Hill at the ADO NJC. And at the time, I was really scared about creating a Facebook business page. And I remember looking at Andrew in the eye and saying, Andrew, what if I get it wrong? And he looked me back in the eye and he said, what if you get it right? And that was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So yeah, the training is available, and yes, you will have to invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to invest in good training, but yeah, make a decision. And like you say, getting a second opinion is a good idea. I mean, I've heard some horror stories where there are PDIs that are going to their third attempt and they want to fail on purpose in order to get out of a franchise. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but when I heard that, I thought, this is horrible. There are people out there going for a part 3, third attempt, and they want to fail because they need to get out of the franchise. Now, I had a franchise. I went to a local company in Dudley and qualified with them. And I ran with the franchise for 12 months. Well, I actually ran with it for 2 years because I took so long deciding to leave the franchise. After I'd done my 12 months, only got like 12 months franchise, and then it came up to like a year and a half, and I thought, right, by then I'd set up my own company, A Star Driving Academy Dudley, and actually one of my pupils told the franchise, oh, he's got his own company, and guess what? They stopped giving me pupils. So then I thought to myself, I'm paying a franchise fee for nothing. So it was coming up to my 2-year anniversary. So I'd been in ADI 2 years, and I thought, I'm just driving past the office. I thought, swing a right, yank the handbrake on, handbrake out my resignation. I said, I'm going. And they said, can you put your roof box here? Can you put your file here? And can you put your pens here? And I thought, have it all. I'm going. So then I was fully independent. And I tell you what, that was the best decision I made. Best decision I made going independent. Of course, people are going to need help because the in part 3 qualification process, there's no business training. And that's where I reached out to people like Andrew Love and other top trainers to gain more information. One particular name that comes to mind, again, one of our industry leaders, Sean Harrington Lunt. He's our top guru in marketing, and I attended one of his seminars at the ADI NJC conference, and that's where I learned about how to create digital images. And I mean, I'm a bit sad. Every day I put a WhatsApp status, copy it to Facebook, and it's always something to do with driving or signs. And he trained me that make it authentic, make it unique. Don't just nick an image from the internet. So I spent some time just taking photographs of tires and taking photographs of the engine bay. And I've got one or two that are, really high hitters as well. I've got the rear demister, front demister, and I just put a little snippet of information. So a lot of people see this information every day for free. I don't mind. I don't mind. I'll give plenty of information away for free. And At the end of the day, it's a business that we're running, and it's more than just money that we're making. We're changing people's lives. I did read somewhere actually. There are instructors that choose one pupil per year that is really, really worthy and deserving of this, and they do the lessons for free. And I think that's really fascinating. People are helping. I mean, it could be somebody who's struggling financially. It could be somebody who's had a bereavement, or something's happened that's affected their life dramatically. And there are some really nice, kind-hearted instructors that choose one pupil per year, and that's it. I'm going to do your lessons for free, and that is just superb.
There's some great people out there, isn't there, who are
Yeah.
willing to help. And I think, like you've mentioned about the CPD and the business side of it, that is still the biggest challenge is the business and how I manage that. I'm slowly getting there. I'm learning, I'm taking things on, I'm listening to people, I'm reading, I'm trying to educate myself. So it's an interesting challenge to have. And I'll get there eventually. I've managed to get the driving school where I want it and it keeps me going. It's everything else that I'm looking to figure out. And CPD, keep at it, keep learning and see where we end up. But what I would like to do now, if we can, I have some tell me questions. Do you mind if we
Yes.
go through those?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
But the
Okay.
first question, can you tell
Yeah.
me what car you would drive if it was the only car you could drive forever?
Oh my gosh, what car would I like to drive? Well, I've got two cars at the moment, both my tuition cars. One's a Ford Fiesta, um, and it's got 109,000 on the clock. Love it to bits. And then about 3 years ago, I put a Toyota Yaris on the road, hybrid automatic. And I tell you what, that is my dream car, the Toyota Yaris hybrid. I went for the GR Sport because I wanted something to, put a smile on my face, and I love it to bits. And you'd think from being from the motor trade, I'd have something really, really flash and expensive. But I'm more than happy with my Toyota Yaris GR Sport.
Nice. Great answer. And you're already driving it. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I sometimes look at it and I think that's a dream come true. I look at it and I think, wow, that's a dream come true, and I love it.
Nice. Can you tell me if you could deliver a driving lesson to anyone, who would it be?
Anybody, anybody who needs one, anybody who needs one. If anybody thinks they need a driving lesson, I'll do it. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a tough one to answer. Yeah. I don't mind anybody.
I like that. We can stick with that. We're happy to
Yep.
deliver a driving lesson to anyone.
Yeah.
So the next question then, can you
Yeah.
tell me the best advice you ever received?
Wow. Best advice. It's got to be something that my trainer, the late Alan Starkey, said to me. And he says this sentence to all his pupils just before they go for test. And this is what he used to say: take your time when it counts. And I use that. It's beautiful. Take your time when it counts.
Nice. I think that might have answered a later question as well, which has
Yeah.
saved you coming up with a second answer in a moment. But take your time when it counts. I like that. Nice. Can you tell me your favorite book?
Fav- Favorite book? Oh wow. Well, I've got lots of books here. I mean, I'm a victim of my own success. I'll start reading a book, but I won't finish it. So let me choose a book here that I want to finish. This is going to make Jed Wilmot really proud. Yeah. Can you see that?
Well, it's a bit blurry, but for
Oh,
those that
I'll
are
tell you what.
listening,
I'll unblur. Right. this is my favorite book. So Jed, I'm ever so sorry. I've started reading, but I haven't finished it. But I'm going to make it a mission. So I will finish reading that book. It's a fascinating book. It's a really fascinating book.
So for those that are listening and not watching the video, he was
Yes.
holding up who's in the driving seat. And that book has come up a lot on the episodes. I'll be honest, I'm yet to read it. I've got a few. My reading list is just getting bigger and bigger. And much like you, I pick a book up, I read it,
Yeah.
and I get distracted by something else. And
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
challenge at the minute to get through them.
Yeah.
Next question. Can you tell me one message you would give to someone who's considering coming into the industry?
Someone considering coming into the industry. Okay. Um, do your research. Do your research. Ask yourself the question, why do you want to become a driving instructor? Reach out for help. Don't be afraid to reach out. Yeah. There's plenty of help available. Um, it's enjoy the journey, reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. There's people, there's there's people in our industry that have been through the journey. Now, when I went through the journey, it was difficult, and I kept going because I knew that there's people out there that have passed, and I can do it as well. So I failed 3 times, did the whole course again to get my fourth and fifth attempt done, and I've actually come across people that have been. I think we refer to it as I've gone round twice. Yeah, I know ADIs that have gone round 3 times. So I thought I was dedicated, having gone round twice. So I know ADIs that have passed on their ninth attempt. So yeah,
That's some
re
dedication.
that is really, yeah. Um, and yeah, reach out for help. It's 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 not impossible. I remember one of my tutors saying to me when I was struggling with my teacher training, guess what? I struggled there as well. um, it's not an unsurmountable task. This is not impossible. Yeah. Yeah, we know the pass rate is low, but it's not impossible to pass. If it was impossible to pass, people wouldn't enroll. People wouldn't, and this is what I say to my learners. I say, look, because they say, oh, how hard is the driving test? I've heard this, I've heard that, I've heard this. And I say, look, it's easy to pass if you can drive safely, but it's easy to fail. The driving test is very easy to pass if you can drive safely, but it's very easy to fail. And then I say, look, it's not impossible to pass. The day the driving test becomes impossible to pass, I'll stop giving driving lessons. It's not impossible to pass. It's possible. Like with the qualification process, it's not impossible to pass. People are still, even today, people will have passed their part 3 and their part 2. But that is the start of the journey. So enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. There's no such thing as a silly question. This is where the 17 competencies come in their strength. There are going to be trainers out there that will help in a non-judgmental environment. And this is what I like about the 17 competencies so much. They align they align with my core values and beliefs very, very strongly. And this is probably why I'm so passionate about being an ADI. I would say my passion right now is as high as it was when I first started, if not higher. Yeah, been doing it 8 years now. Second badge, I think it is now. 8 years. Still love it. Still absolutely love it. And the beauty of it is when I wake up in the morning and leave the door, it doesn't feel like I'm going to work. I can only pray that anybody listening to this gets this feeling that you don't feel like you're going to work. It's so enjoyable. It's so enjoyable. So there's probably a quote somewhere about work, and when you find something that you enjoy and love so much, it doesn't feel like work. This is how beautiful it is to be an ADI, because you get to meet different people from different backgrounds and cultures, and help them move from here to here to here, and you're changing their lives. For example, if we take a pupil who recently had children, and now that pupil is able to take their children to the seaside, drop them off at school, pick them up, haven't got to wait in the rain and so on. So we're changing people's lives. We're helping people get better jobs. We're helping people get better career opportunities, and it's fascinating. And
Can you tell me something you wish you were better at?
something I wish I was better at. Okay. Yes. Not procrastinating. Oh my goodness. I will spend so long making a decision. Not at roundabouts or crossroads, but so in in my life, I've spent lots and lots of time, wasted energy. So yeah, if there's anybody that can help me with my procrastination, I know what to do, but I can't do it. I can't implement it. I've got a to-do list. I've got a goal list. I've got a business plan. Well, not necessarily a business plan, but I've got goals that I want to achieve. Um, but yeah, that's something I would love to be able to just like make a decision. Because I know some. I mean, one of my cousins, he's passed away now. Very successful businessman, and he used to have a body shop and rental properties, and he would dip in and dip out of different businesses, and whatever was making money, he'd just carry on with it, sell the business on, and do something. So yeah, it's hard.
Less procrastinating. I like
Definitely.
that answer.
Yeah.
And the final one, then, this is for you. Any
Yes.
final messages that you've got, and where can people go if they've got any questions for you?
Final message to everybody is enjoy your journey. Enjoy your journey. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals that you can have a laugh and a joke with. Yeah. And if anybody needs to contact me direct, I'm on Facebook. Um, Hardial S Matharu. The S stands for Sing. Is my full name. My phone number is 07505 624 880. I'm on Facebook as well. My company name is A Star Driving Academy Dudley. I've also got a company running alongside, which is for tuition, A Star Tutoring Academy Dudley. So I do tuition in science and maths. Um, reach out, send me a message on Messenger, or text me. I'm more than happy to engage in a conversation with anybody up and down the country. I'll share my secrets of how I've got to where I am. I'm happy. I'm very happy. My personal goals are very simple: peace of mind and quality of life. Peace of mind. We came empty-handed, we're going to go empty-handed. And if we can help somebody along the way, then that's a bonus. I like helping people. I have learned the hard way. I've got a little queue of people that owe me money, and we all learn the hard way. But I'm more than happy to give my time freely. If I can help somebody become stronger and better, more than happy to help anybody.
Nice. We will get the links put in the description. and people will be able to find you from there. But Hardial, thank you very much for joining me tonight. It has been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you very much, Josh. I've really enjoyed it, and the time has flown past. Thank you very much.